everybody, Sean here, and this is my first video update of 2018. Yeah! So, as you can tell, I am not in Duluth, Minnesota right now. Can't really see behind me, but I am in sunny Davie, Florida right now. This is actually the last day that myself and Amy are going to be here. We came down to visit and stay with Amy's cousin Christine and her husband James and their little guy LJ. This is the second time that we've gotten to come down here and visit. Some of you may recall the last time was last March 2017, and that is when I had top surgery. And so, as some of you may have followed, I had a little bit of a spot in the center of my chest that hadn't quite flattened out, and so while we were down here this time, I ended up going back and seeing Dr. Sassani at Take Shape Plastic Surgery. I went in this past Tuesday, I think it was, January 16th. So we went in, and I didn't really know what to expect. I thought maybe he would do some type of like liposuction or something for that center part of my chest. But what ended up happening was he ended up making 2 small incisions, and then he actually ended up removing like a chunk of leftover fatty chest tissue. That was gross. So it was really, really cool to see him take that out, and to see it after the fact, because it sort of like validated my thoughts and thinking on there's still some stuff in there, you know, that was missed. So he ended up doing that. The procedure took, I don't know, somewhere around an hour, hour and a half, and I was awake for it. We were just in like a typical exam room, and Amy got to stay with me the whole time, which was really nice because, as always, I was nervous and kind of anxious about how things were going to go. So that whole process went really, really well. He ended up sticking me with a needle, numbed up the whole area, and then I do still have a lot of numbness in sort of this general area of my chest from the previous top surgery, where my nerves are still kind of growing back and healing. So I didn't feel a thing, which was great, and I basically just like stared up at the ceiling while he was doing his thing, and Amy held my hand and took some pictures and some videos, which I'll probably add at the end of this. And so, yeah, it was really good, really exciting. I didn't have to have a drain or anything. He stitched me back up the little incisions, which he stayed right on my original incision line, so that was cool. And then we left, and that was last Tuesday. We had scheduled a follow-up appointment for Friday, the 19th, I think? Yeah, the 19th of January. And that was just supposed to be like, go in, get it checked out, make sure everything looks good, and then we are supposed to fly out tomorrow, Monday. So when we went in on Friday, it didn't quite go as we had planned or expected. It turns out that I developed a hematoma in the center of my chest, which Amy and I had kind of noticed. There was some swelling, and it was kind of puffing out a little bit during the days after the initial revision, but we just sort of thought it was swelling or some bruising underneath the skin. We didn't think anything of it, and when we went in, Dr. Sassani confirmed that it was a hematoma under there. And so what he ended up doing was he attempted to take a fairly large needle, I guess. I didn't look, but Amy said it was a pretty thick needle, and kind of stuck it in there and was going to try to drain out whatever blood or fluid was in there that had sort of pooled up. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get it out that way, so he had to reopen my incisions on Friday. So that was 2 days ago. Which was pretty tough. it was hard because we initially went in thinking this is just going to be a super quick check. He'll just confirm what we thought, that it was just some swelling and it would go down, but unfortunately that was not the case. So Friday's appointment was pretty hard. There was a little bit more pain during that procedure where he reopened up the incisions. And yeah, Friday was pretty disappointing, and it sort of left me feeling like, why me? You know, like I had to go in for top surgery last March, and that was a pretty tough procedure and a long recovery. And then, you know, having to come back for a revision was sort of already kind of a bummer, but it was like, hey, you know, we're going to be here. We have family. Like, we have a reason to come down here. And then to go back on Friday and have to be cut open again, it was just sort of like, I don't know, pretty tough for me, emotionally and mentally. And so I was really glad to have Amy there with me. She was able to just, like I said, hold my hand, and it was really warm in the office, of course, for me, a Minnesotan. So she was fanning me with a magazine and just was really amazing, and kind of kept encouraging me to take deep breaths while he was doing this second revision, I guess I'll call it. And that one took about, I'd say, another hour to an hour and a half, where he had to go back in. And then what he ended up having to do, because he didn't want to take the chance of another hematoma forming, he had to insert a drain, very similar to the drains that I had last March during my original top surgery. And that was kind of scary, because the drains, I mean, they're just sort of like hanging out of your body, and it's creepy. I don't know if any of you have seen Underworld. The bad guy vampire character Victor has that like scene where he's like got the tubes all coming out of him, and he's like, I don't know, being like revitalized or something. I don't know, but it's pretty nasty and creepy, and so I was not happy to have a drain put in again. But this drain was better because it didn't have to go in super far. It was just sort of into that center part of my chest, maybe like, I don't know, 2 inches or so. So I was pretty bummed out. And we left the doctor's office, and I was just feeling really down and just very discouraged. And poor Amy had to deal with me and try to figure out, you know, should she try to talk to me and encourage me? Should she leave me alone to kind of like have my own quiet space, you know, time? And as always, you know, she came through and has been an amazing, supportive partner to me, better than I could have ever imagined or asked for. So to her, I am extremely grateful for all of her patience and love and kindness and help pushing me up out of bed when I can't sit up because I'm worried about hurting my chest, you know, and all of these little things. So anyways, she's been taking good care of me. And then when we left on Friday, Dr. Sassani, you know, had asked when we're supposed to fly out. And we ended up going back in today, Sunday, on his day off. He came in this morning. And it was just us in the office, and he, you know, took off the bandages, and everything was flat. Whew. Giant sigh of relief. You know, because I had been worried that, you know, maybe something else was going to go wrong, or like the hematoma was going to form again, like I'd have to keep the drains in longer, like, you know, my brain immediately goes to like worst case scenario of we're gonna have to like change our flight, we're gonna have to stay here longer, he's gonna have to cut me open again. And I just had a lot of fear around coming in this morning. And I mean, most of you know, like I'm not a very spiritual person. I was raised that way, but haven't practiced for a long time, and I ended up praying a lot and asking a lot of my close friends to say prayers and to send good vibes and however they, pray, but just to like keep me in their thoughts. And to all of you, I want to say thank you very much. I'm not really good at talking about being in pain or talking about my own fears and frustrations, dealing with emotions like that are negative. So all of you that reached out and like chatted with me or like had me looking at raccoon gifs, it was really, really, really helpful. So thank you to all of you. So yeah, today everything looked good. He was able to remove the drain, which was no big deal at all because like I said, it was just like in there a little bit. Didn't feel a thing. And then he rebandaged me and I can shower, thankfully. I don't know if you could tell, I'm pretty greasy in this Florida humidity. So I can take a shower and all of that, and basically all I have to do now is keep an eye on it, obviously. And then I have to wear an ACE bandage for the next 2 weeks. So that's kind of a bummer because I binded for a long time. I wore binders, and then top surgery, same thing. Like I had to wear the ACE wrap for a long time after that, and it's just uncomfortable. But I will take an ACE bandage for 2 weeks any day over a drain sticking out of me. So that is definitely a plus comparatively. So yeah, I mean, it was not how I planned this trip. We had really kind of hoped to be able to do more, and I was hoping to be able to like toss around my little nephew, cousin, LJ, and do some sightseeing, which we did get to go to the beach, which was really cool. And Amy has gotten to go out and hang out. Her and her cousin, have been able to go out and have lunch and get out of the house, which I'm glad for. But yeah, the trip was not as I planned, which is kind of a good metaphor for life. Doesn't really ever go the way that we think it's going to, but I'm very, very thankful to be where I am, to be able to have access to a surgeon, who did a really great job and has taken good care of me through these complications. So just feeling very relieved and grateful, and I am very much looking forward to coming home. I heard it's been nice in Duluth. 40 degrees? I'm excited. I'm excited to go home. Both Amy and I are ready to go home and sleep in our own bed and see our kitty babies. Thanks to Liz and Becca and Amanda for taking care of our babies while we were gone. So I guess next step is more patience and waiting for healing to happen, which I'm not very good at patience, which is probably why I keep getting tested in these ways, to just build up that patience more and more. So anyways, that's about it for this first 2018 video. Last year I didn't end up doing a ton of videos, and I realized through a lot of conversations that I need to be focusing on self-care, and actually one of the cool things that I really like doing is doing these videos and then editing them afterwards. So that's sort of one of my loose New Year's resolutions. I don't even want to call it that. I just want to focus on doing more things that I really enjoy, spending more time taking care of myself, so that I can be strong and in a good place to do the work that I do, the organizing work and the advocacy stuff around the trans community. And I just need to take better care of myself. So, anyways, thanks to all of you for tuning in to this video from sunny Florida, warm Florida, and I will check back in with you later. And now I'm going to tag on some of my photos and videos from the first revision and also the second revision on Friday, and then today's visit, so you'll get to see kind of what happened. For any of you with queasy, not strong stomachs, don't like seeing bloody guts stuff, I would suggest you skip this part. It's bloody and gutsy. So, take care of yourselves. If you need to skip out now, definitely do that. And as always, if you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them here. Get in touch with me, and we'll chat soon. See you later.